People, it's Steel Gamer here, and this is welcome to World of Warcraft. Just gonna, before getting into the video, say that this is an actual official server. I did, I don't have an issue paying $15, to gain access and things like that, because they take care of their servers and stuff like that. But that leads me into the title of the video. It's what happened to this game, and I'm going to be going over, massive issues that are developing in the game, not just with, previous expansions, but things such as the Pathfinder achievement, total gaps in the quest lines, misinformation, people ranting about kick or remove player from game, the report feature, all the way up to mythic dungeons and raids and stuff like that, which I'll be getting into the mechanics and all sorts of good stuff. So without further ado, let me get right into this and start by saying I'm in the process of turning in some, I guess some daily quest or something like that. I'm really not sure. Yeah, it's a daily quest. So anyway, what are the awakened? I am now friendly. Alright. So I need to sell some of this. I'm going to try to talk and play at the same time, but I don't know how well that's going to work out. So... I'm going to first explain about my play style, and there's a few things you'll notice that I don't actually do. I click a lot of my skills. I don't use buttons. Yeah, granted, it may be faster or whatever else it is, but I don't do PvP in games. I can't stand it. It's a waste of time. All it does is get people cocky, and they act like toxic idiots. Secondly, you may have heard me say this in other videos regarding some of the stuff I've talked about, this game in other videos, is where I don't use, oops, wait a minute. Like I said, I'm trying to talk and play at the same time. It doesn't end too well. So if I do this, where did that go? I just had that. What? Never brought it back? It's freaking weird. And there it is. So that goes there. Alright, sorry. Let me get rid of this crap here. Alright, so anyway, you'll notice that I don't use pretty much any add-ons. The add-ons I do use are very minimal. I find a lot of the add-ons just really pointless. Now, people can come up with all sorts of things about why they're good. Oh, I can rearrange this. I don't understand why you would need to rearrange your bar, but that's a preference. That doesn't make the game play any different. It's not like I can press this faster here. It's a button. You're pressing it. It goes at the same speed for everybody, no matter what you're doing. I'm not saying don't use add-ons. I'm telling you the reason I don't use them. I just find them a complete waste of whatever. I mean, if they're good for you, they're good for you. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. The issue here is that this game has basically been screwed since Blizzard started doing certain things to it, and one of the ones I'm going to discuss is the Pathfinder achievement, or the ability to learn how to fly or some crap like that, or you have to earn the ability to fly. Alright, let me put it this way. I have, by the way, in case you're wondering what I just did, it said I hadn't added that transmog to my inventory, so I just basically equipped it to get the transmog, and then I unequip it. I don't really trade my stuff. I mainly sell it because there's no reason for me to have it. Alright, so anyway, back to what I was saying. There's a lot of stuff that's in this game that's just pointless, and Blizzard didn't help the matter by, let me get rid of that. I don't need that. Blizzard didn't help the matter by making the Pathfinder the ability to fly. So that ties into a lot of other problems. So I'm going to try to break this down as easy as I can and explain it, because there's so much involved in this that it's one thing is leading into another, and everything's connected while everything's branching off of everything else. So there's a lot of crap here involved, because if you pose a problem here, or you explain a problem, and you have to backtrack what that problem is affecting, or like what parts of the game that problem is affecting. So the Pathfinder achievement is basically, I'm in agreement with a lot of people that they shouldn't have even just put flying inside the expansions in the first place. By the time you get flying, the expansion's used. You're never going to go back there, especially after how Blizzard is what Blizzard basically did to this game to not want you to go, but there's no reason for anybody to go back in previous expansions once it's done. There's literally nothing you're going to be able to do to this expansion that is necessary. So, all right, take for example, the reason I'm doing the Pathfinder achievement is I just happened to be doing it, and I didn't realize it was going to take this freaking long. I knew it was going to take long, but it should have been done by now. But that being said, when I first came into this expansion, okay, I first had to ask Blizzard how the hell you even get into this, how you even get access to this content, because a lot of people who have been playing the game already understand that, and the information was passed on while they were playing the game. Anybody who's come back from this after taking an extreme amount of absence from the game, such as myself, I've only come back like about I'm back in the game 9 days now, after being gone for over 2 years. So the issue here is that so much stuff has been changed that all of the information that is given to you or given to the player about all the stuff that I said isn't explained. It's not that it's not explained. It's not explained on high-level characters. So I came back with a level 87 character. All of the information about the adventure guide, the hero's call board, just random things like that are on a beginning character. They're on a starting character. So even if you reset the tutorials, go into the options, and then you reset the tutorials, that still will not get the tutorial to show up on this high level character. So there's a lot of information that is missing from people returning to the game that you have to have, or you're not going to be able to play the game because it screws it up. And that's something that Blizzard screwed this up on. Now, how I used to play this game, I used to go and mine. That's what I did, because mining was basically the money maker in the game. Yes, other stuff made money, but the fact of the matter is, mining was used in every profession, all of them, leatherworking, jewel crafting, even potions. And so mining was the base staple that made all the other professions, work or be viable. So to me, I would just go fly, learn the mining, go mine, and then put the bars and stuff on the auction house. To me, that was what I did. That was fun. Now, Blizzard has rendered mining in certain areas useless. You have to go back to the area to get the specific ore for what you're mining. Which leads me into the issue about why the hell they have Pandara mining, Northrend mining. There's no reason to have all that. The way they had it set up originally was better, because that trainer in that area, or the mining trainer, knew how to mine everything in the realms. The fact that they put it now, a trainer in each specific realm, is pointless, because you can, first of all, smelt the ore without having to know the skill. I mean, you can mine the ore without having the skill. Before you couldn't even mine the ore, it said you needed to have a specific level on mining to even mine the ore itself. But I can go into Pandaria and mine ore. I can go into Warlords of Draenor and mine ore. Even if I didn't have the mining for that, I could still do it, which doesn't make any sense, because you have to go back to those areas anyway to get the ore that's only found in those areas. So I don't understand why they would put mining 1. Well, they wanted to make mining so you could just do it anywhere. Well, that doesn't make any friggin' sense, because I can smelt the ore any place in the world, or whatever I can do, because as soon as I learn Pandaria mining, it doesn't matter whether I'm in Pandaria or not. I can now go to like Stormwind and do the mining, smelting it or processing it, which doesn't make any sense, because the whole purpose of putting the mining trainer into the specific expansion where that ore is so you would have to only be able to smelt or do anything with the ore in that area, because you still have to go to that area to get the ore that area produces. So it doesn't matter where you go. So the earlier system that they had set up where you would have to go to a specific area to get the ore to turn into bars, but you would have to go to one trainer to, to smelt everything, to learn how to get that. Let's say Pandaria had mining of 175 or something like that, and Stormwind had, in that area had 100. So you would have to get your mining to 175, and then you go back to the mining trainer in Stormwind, and he would be able to train you in mining that took 175. So it didn't even matter where in the world it was. The fact that they now have a mining trainer in each section of the world is pointless, because I don't understand how I was talking to a Blizzard employee, and they said the mining itself, well, they did that to make it feel more useful and stuff. I'm like, well, you still have to go to that area to get the ore anyway, so that doesn't even matter. If you have to go, the point is if you have to go train to be able to smelt ore from that area in another area. Hey, what's up, James? How's it going? Or Jackson, how's it going? If you have to go in, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of explaining the one. This is a, I don't know how long you've been watching, but this is a huge problem, because everything that Blizzard screwed up in this game connects into everything else, and everything else relies on everything else. So when you fuck up one situation, everything else falls into that category. So I'm starting with the mining, because the way they did the mining doesn't even make any sense. I understand that they wanted you to have to go to an area to learn mining in that area, but that doesn't change the fact that you can mine the ore itself off of the nodes without knowing the mining. So that contradicts the whole point to having to learn mining in that area. So if I wanted to go to Pandaria, whatever Pandaria's ore is, Pandaria is the only place that ore spawns, so you still have to go to that area to get the ore anyway. So it was literally pointless to allow the mining trainer for Pandaria to have to teach you Pandaria mining, but you could go in there and mine. You could mine the ore without knowing Pandaria mining. But yet, once you learned the Pandaria mining, you could go to Stormwind and smelt the ore from Pandaria. That literally makes no sense. The way they had it set up originally was so much better. One mining trainer knew how to do it all. But because you still would have to go to those areas that produce that ore in order to get the mine. So in order to get the ore to mine it and stuff like that. And even still, you wouldn't be able to even mine the ore if you didn't have the skill level to do that, which is what the trainer was for. So they had one trainer that governed everything. It made sense. But when they start doing this shit and then contradict the whole reason for doing it, it doesn't make any sense. Because if you're going to have, what they should have done was kept all of the mining of an area in that area. So you wouldn't be able to either mine the ore, smelt the ore, do anything with the ore unless it was in Pandaria. So basically all of Pandaria's mining should only happen in Pandaria if they're going to put a mining trainer in Pandaria. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense. I have to go to Pandaria. I can mine ore, but I can't do anything with it. But if I want to smelt the ore outside of Pandaria, I have to go to the Pandaria trainer. That doesn't make any sense. So that's the first thing that they fucked up. So that I can deal with, okay? So that's only part of the issue here. So now what you have is, the way I played the game, Blizzard fucked up the entire structure of the game, so it basically renders professions useless. Everybody can do their own profession. Now that fucks up with the auction house and the whole economical system for people relying on things from other people. That is how the game was originally built. So before, I would have fun clearing out the quests in the area. I didn't give a shit about what was doing what, or raids or dungeons. I don't like the mentality of groups. The threat of removal is there, so I don't even go into them. I've never done a raid in this game. People are like, oh, you're missing out. I would rather miss out on gear that becomes outdated inside an expansion than have to deal with the stupid shit that goes on in the games and the threat of removal just because somebody doesn't like the way somebody's standing or anything. That's just fucked up. There's so many problems. So I've been in 4 groups total in this game, and that was back when Burning Crusade came out, right after it came out. That's how long I've been at this game. And so that leads me into why I only have one play character and things like that. And so when you look at the structure of the way the game was originally set up, professions actually, people relied on other people having those professions. So as I was saying, why I brought up mining is because originally, right at the Cataclysm, mining is what made the economy in this game, because every single profession in the entire game revolved around mining. Jewel crafting required bars or stuff you could only get from mining. Leatherworking, blacksmithing, they all required mining. Even some herbalism required mining. So basically there was nothing in the game that didn't need mining, which is why mining was a moneymaker. Now that's just shot to shit. And that brings me to the Pathfinder achievement that I was talking about in here, because Blizzard has taken the structure of the entire game now, and they fucked with it to the point where it's not even playing to have fun anymore. Basically, once you go through an expansion, it's done. There's no reason for you to ever go back there. It's not like, that's why I brought up mining, because beforehand, when I was doing mining, if people wanted thorium, you had to go to Ungoro Crater was one of the places that was it. There were other places in the game, but Ungoro Crater was like a really rich place for that stuff. So you would go there, farm it, put it on the auction house, and people would buy it because they needed it. So therefore, you would have to go to that area, whatever you wanted to do, and you could you could look at the auction house and things like that. That's gone. Like, this whole fucking place shit is gone. So the reason that I would use mining is because flying allowed you to get around easier. But the fact of the matter is, I'm in complete agreement when people said, they should have just removed flying from all the expansions if they're just going to make a Pathfinder achievement. The reason behind that is because the structure of the game has changed the way the game is now played. People have no reason to go back to older expansions. I'm in the Warlords of Draenor expansion. Now, this is an old expansion, and I haven't touched Legion, but I left the game before I touched Warlords of Draenor or Legion. So even though the expansions are old, the content is new to me. And so I'm doing the Pathfinder achievement. Now, I know it was going to take a while, but had I known it was going to take this long, I just would have said forget about it. But since I'm so close, I'm just going to finish it. I'm not going to do the Pathfinder achievement for Legion, and I'm not going to do it for Battle for Azeroth. And the reason behind it is because it's the same reason in here. The ore and the mining in here is why I would come in here to fly around. That just flying made it easier to do. So there really is no reason for me to fly in. There's no reason for me to come back here. They gave flying at the end of the expansion where it becomes useless. So there's no point to even having it in here, because nobody's going to come back here. There are people who are hardcore players that do alts. One second. All right. Okay, so there's people in here who do. Sorry, I had to adjust something. There's people who use alts, which is fine for that. But when you actually take the structure of the game and you apply the structure to how the game itself is being played and what's going on now, it's destroyed. Blizzard totally removed the entire structure of the game, and now it's just like, we have to go get every quest that you have no idea what's connected, what quest is connected to what. So you can't just straight up go do the Pathfinder achievement to learn how to fly and then continue doing the rest of the quest. They have it set up so you must take every quest in this entire game in order to be able to finish if you wanted Pathfinder, which completely defeats the purpose on flying in general. If they were going to do that, they should have just removed flying from the game altogether. At least in the expansions, I should say. So there's no reason, there's no gameplay reason I have to come back here. So after I finish the flying aspect in this, then I am not even going to bother with this anymore. There's no reason, like I said, there's no reason for me to even come back in here. The mining profession is useless now and everything else, so I don't need to come back here for the ore. That is one issue here. Now you get into the issue of, I have to find out where the fuck I'm going. Give me a minute. Aktar's Post. Aktar's Post. Trying to play and do this at the same time.
Greetings.
Where am I going here?
We will.
I think that's the shortest cut I can go to this. Alright, so anyway. Now Blizzard set it up so the playing isn't even related to the game anymore. It's just follow our path we want you to do, and that's it. It's no longer, can you have fun even doing anything anymore? It's just, I got to rush to do this, and because this takes so long, I got to hop right on it, which is another issue about ketchup. I don't mean the tomato sauce. Talking like catching up. to people that get into this expansion late. So, for example, when I finally get into Battle of Azeroth, I'm not even going to be able to get into half of the dungeons. I'm going to be so far behind on all the equipment, it's not even going to matter. That's one of the reasons I play solo. I don't like the mentality, the way the community is. I don't like the way that you have to catch up to things that are so far behind, but by the time you do catch up to them, what you're catching up to has basically been like an expansion. It's been rendered useless because by the time you can get anything in there that would have been helpful, it's now null and void. So it's really ridiculous how Blizzard has turned this game into a shell of its former self. Now you get people into talking about, well, this, I get this gear and the Horde gets this gear. And it's like the arguments are just absolutely ridiculous. If somebody wants to blow through the content, let them. I don't see what the big deal is. Yeah, people are like, well, I have nothing to do. Well, you shouldn't have skipped the content. That's on them. But to literally rip the structure of the game itself out and render a lot of shit that render half of the mechanics in here pretty much useless. They might as well not even have professions in here. They literally don't do anything. All people are doing is going after dungeons and the gear. That's it. There's no profession. There's no profession or any setup on the way any of this shit works anymore. Now, taking that into account, I'll explain what happened when I came into this, not the expansion itself, but something that's been consistently happening to me in this expansion. And I'll start with the Spires of Arak, or whatever you want to call this. When I first entered this expansion, this part of the expansion, there was no quest in here at all. They just didn't exist. Because apparently when I picked up all the quests and did them in here, and then I walked into here expecting quests, nope. Apparently somehow Blizzard has it set up so you have to follow a set path after picking these up. Even though you could do them in any order, they still require you to go follow a very specific pattern or pathway so you get connected to the rest of the game, which is bullshit because when I came in here, there was no quest or anything. I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. So I'm like, where did all the quests go? Where are these things? And so because I was doing Pathfinder, I happened to come in this way, and I wound up going around or something like that, and I jumped down because there was something I needed down here or something, and then I just followed along getting all the flight pass, and that brought me to Pinch Whistle Point. Now, here's the issue that I kept running into. I found a few quests in Pinch Whistle Point, so I figured, okay, that might be the start of it. Just because there was none up here, that didn't mean anything. So, once I did Pinch Whistle Point, it directed me, after I exhausted all the quests down here, it directed me and flew me to Pinch Whistle Gearworks, which coincidentally was one of the things on the Pathfinder achievement. So, okay, that's cool. Now, after I exhausted all of the quests in here, it directed me over to Southport. Once I got to Southport, there was nothing left to do. There was no quests, no anything. And obviously you can't say that in chat, like, people are like, well, just do the questing. There was literally no quest on the map at all. There wasn't even random exclamation points anywhere. I even walked all the way around. I rode up here and I took the flight pass, searched around here. I couldn't find a damn quest at all. So somehow, from when I left Shadow Moon Valley to me going into the Spires, somehow you're supposed to somehow know enough that you have to go a very specific path into this and that you can't just go randomly. Which is another reason that I said, what the frick happened to this game? Because beforehand, it shouldn't even matter which way you go in. The quest should still be there and everything else. It should not require you a specific, very set pathway in order to trigger the quest from being in here. That's absolutely ridiculous. So that brings me to the point of where the quest gaps are. You'll hear me say the quest is broken. Somehow that people translate into that means I said the quest can't be done, and that's not true. A broken quest does not mean it can't be done. It just means something in the middle broke the quest line in order for you to connect point A with point B. And therefore that gap is missing. Or I should say connect point A to C, but you're missing B to make those two, to make that bridge. And that's what basically another thing that happened here. So apparently when I had to call Blizzard, and apparently somehow, despite me going up here, there was some random quest that was right up here that I was somehow supposed to know enough to go there. And somehow I'm supposed to know enough to go from here to here, grab that quest, come down in here, and then somehow I'm supposed to know that. Yet, I was able to walk into this area in another way. Okay, so that being said, somehow, after going from Pinch Whistle Point to Gearworks to Southport, there's nothing. But somehow, I don't know how you go from this to Southport to going from Southport up to here. That doesn't even make any sense. That is a massive gap there's no reason for you to be being sent here if nothing here is going to tell you to go there, or it doesn't just send you directly from here to there. So somehow that's a broken quest, because it breaks the way the game is, because apparently if you don't go here, you'll never see a quest in there, and you're somehow supposed to know that, despite you're never told, and you have no idea. Like this quest. This quest that I have highlighted right here could be connected to something here, 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 and here. And then those things should be connected to something here, here, here. It's like ridiculous. You have to in order for you not to break a quest line, you have to pick up every single quest in here, not knowing if it's even related to anything, but you have to pick it up in the off chance that you may not remember where it is, or it may not even show up on the map after you forget about it. So, continuing on that, after winding up having to do that, and I was complaining to him on the phone about that. It's not his fault, but he says, I told him, you may want to have the developers listen to this, because that's absolutely ridiculous. I shouldn't have to go. How was anybody, well, you missed the beginning quest. Of course I missed it. Nobody told me that was part of it, and on top of that, I have no way to know that. If I don't want random quests because they're too level, I'm not going to pick them up. But if they're going to tie those to things, they need to tell people that, oh, you need to pick these up or you're never going to see anything. So I'm on the phone with this guy saying this is broken, and I had him log into my account, and they're trying to blame, like, add-ons, or, they're trying to make sure they add. I'm like, no, this is bad fucking programming. You don't go from this to this to this, but then leave it dead here and somehow connect this to this. No, you connect either this to this and put something here that says go here, or you connect this directly to there. Because there's no reason for you to fly here if there's going to be nothing here. Why is the game even telling you that? So how I even got these quests down here in the first place is a mystery. Because after I did this, there's nothing on the map. So how were these even on the map in the first place? I don't know. Now, that brings me to what happened to me in the Tannin Jungle. So, because I had to walk into this, now the developers have set a pattern of making sure you walk into the starting quest. The only way to get into Tannin Jungle, if you are walking, is through here. Fire Ridge. There's no other way to get through it if you're walking. I guess you could go down, but these mountains are cut off. So you can only get in there from Talador, or I don't even think you can get in from Talador. So anyway, the point is that I figured I'd walk through and pick up the beginning quest. Nope. I had to, not only did I not get any quests from that walking through there the way I had to walk through here, but I had to jury rig my way into here because there was nothing for me to do. I exhausted everything outside of here. There was no way for me to get anything so I'm like, okay, I'll just walk over to Tannin Jungle. So after struggling for a little bit, I finally managed to get, Mickey Mouse my way into jury rig and climbed a hill. I go, okay, whatever. I figured that was just, it. So I'm walking around in here. I ran into the same problem in here as I did in the Spires of Arak. There wasn't a single quest anywhere on the map. That brought me to what the fuck is going on here, because Blizzard can't explain to you how to get into an area. First of all, I shouldn't have to struggle to get into an area. And secondly, there should have been random exclamation points somewhere just wandering around. It doesn't matter whether you have triggered anything to go in there. The exclamation points for random quests should still have been over there, and there was none at all. And so when I actually went into Lion's Walks, because I started asking people where to go, they go, oh, I got a quest to come here. I says, I didn't get a quest to come here. And then apparently there's some quest that you're supposed to know about without having no way to know it, that brings you over here, which in that turn triggers everything else. I finally got to the bottom of it, and wait till you hear this shit. So anyway, they told me to go to Lion's Watch, and when I went there was nothing there. It was just like benches that weren't spawned yet, just stuff floating in the air. I was able to kill enemies, but there was like nothing there for me to do. And so, obviously, you know, you can't really say anything else in chat because people are going to be, oh, you're a troll and everything else. So, now I'll explain to you what actually happened here. Alright, so, this is the shit that pisses me off in games. If you're going to have me walk into this area, but I have to get a quest along here to walk into as I'm walking into this area, and I walk into this area, you need to have that same fucking setup here. Because if you're basically telling me I have to walk up this way and go in a very certain specific way that there's no way a player would ever know if you don't have any connection points to that, then you're not walking in here. Now, this is the thing that friggin' got to me. First of all, they broke that pattern, so I don't know what the hell that's about. There's no, they have no consistency. But to make matters worse, apparently somehow, after exhausting all of the quests in here and turning them in here, apparently somehow, a player is somehow, after exhausting all of this, going into all these other areas, Spies Ark and everything else, somehow a player who has already done this area is somehow supposed to know enough, not only to come back to this area, but somehow your shipyard connects you. The shipyard in here that's built that doesn't go anywhere at all from any connection points. You can't take a ship from Stormwind. You can't take it from Wetmarsh here. You can't take it from Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor, any of those places that docks your ship there. So on top of not going anywhere outward from the garrison, it doesn't come inward either. There's nothing here going here. So naturally, somebody's like, okay, I don't really care about the shipyard because there's nothing for me to do. I'm not going to go back there. There's no reason for it. So, despite all that, somehow a player is still somehow magically and psychically supposed to know, not only do they have to come back to the garrison, but they have to go to the shipyard to talk to the guy, because apparently that quest is somehow connected to the Tannin Jungle. That makes about as much fucking sense as saying, well, hey, if you don't upgrade the herb garden inside your garrison, you can't go to the Wrath of the Lich King or, you know, Northrend. They're not even related and have nothing to do with each other, and yet Blizzard connects them without telling you. Somehow you're supposed to do that. Despite, after everything I just explained, everything I just explained nullifies anybody trying to justify that. That goes beyond shitty programming. That just fucks up the structure of the entire game itself. Now, that brings me to the whole problem with the garrison in general. There was no explanation at all on how to actually get the currency to buy the recipes for anything. I was sitting there, I leveled my enchanting, I think, 5 times in 4.5 days because I had no idea where the damn currency was. So I'm sending scouts on missions. I'm doing, you know, missions for people in the garrison. I didn't get a single fucking currency for any of the recipes. Then finally somebody went in voice chat and told me all this stuff, and there was just no fucking way that anybody would ever have known that. Yeah, anybody can say whatever it is they want. The game itself doesn't explain it to you. I just figured they just removed the currency. Because a lot of people say, well, that's obsolete now. I'm like, okay, so if it's obsolete, that's one thing. But that doesn't change the fact that I still wanted to know how to do it. So I just basically kept saying in the chat, I'm like, well, if the currency's here, where is it? Nothing you do generates you currency. So the parallel I'm making here is like earlier before this shit came out with the Pathfinder and, you know, these expansions, PvP when you did it generated you currency. It gave a specialized currency that you would spend at a specialized vendor. Simple. That's the monetary system or the specialized system. Dark Moon, the Dark Moon Fair, they give you Dark Moon prizes or whatever it is. I have Dark Moon prize tickets. That's a very special vendor. I get them from doing stuff in the Dark Moon Fair. That's the currency. But when I wanted to go buy a recipe from something that was in my profession, said I didn't have the currency. I'm like, where the hell's the currency? Apparently, you're somehow supposed to magically know how to get the currency in here. This was totally unexplained. So when this person talked to me for about a half an hour, they were. I was just like, this is ridiculous. How is anybody even going to know this? Apparently, you're supposed to read everything that you possibly can instead of being able to go into the game and enjoy it without running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock because of how Blizzard fucked up the game. So that's another thing. Now we get into the something else with the Pathfinder achievement, doing things the way Blizzard wants it. Okay. When doing the Pathfinder achievement, you need to get reputation gains. So in the Dark Moon Fair, I had 2 top hats from prizes that were in boxes, the prize boxes. It gives you tickets and then sometimes it gives you a random item. I had 2 top hats. Now the reason why those are key is because I started saving them, because it says you gain your XP gain for an hour and your reputation gain for an hour. The XP gain is, I forget how much it was XP, but the reputation gains you 10% additional reputation for an hour when you consume the hat. And so I had 2 of those, so I was going to start saving them because I knew I was going to need them for this. And as soon as the Dark Moon Fair disappeared, the hats disappeared out of my inventory. It's because they gave the reputation gain. Blizzard can't even allow you a shortcut with a legitimate in-game item for reputation gaining. That's how bad they dragged this out. Like I said, the top hats are just disappeared out of my inventory. I'm like, really? They're the only item that disappeared out of my inventory. It's because they had reputation gain on them. That's the only conclusion I can come to. Because it's like, it's one thing for Blizzard to want you to play this way, but they've literally stripped out any possible way for you to speed the process up. You can't even use bonuses on reputation gain. It's ridiculous. At least from that source, anyway. I should still be able to have them. I still have prizes from friggin' the Dark Moon Fair in my inventory. The only thing I don't have is the top hats. So that means that Blizzard is purposely stripping out and making it drag out. You're not even allowed to use bonuses off of things like that. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And these top hats weren't even. I'll see if I can find the picture of it. Let me look it up right now. Hold on. I'm looking to see if I can actually find a picture of it. Okay, apparently, I can't find it right now, but apparently it gives an XP, 10% XP and reputation gain for an hour. It's obviously consumed when it's used, but that's not the point. The point here is, like I said, you can, what's that? Camo seats? What the fuck are these things? Oh, you know what? Maybe I need these. Nope, I guess not. Alright, so anyway, the point I'm making is they literally ripped out those top hats out of my inventory because apparently you're not supposed to even have that helping you. So, I mean, Blizzard fucked us up anyway by the time you get to use flying, the expansion's useless. You have no business coming back here anyway. And I'm sure as hell not going to take an alternate character and do this again. This was really boring. I had no fun doing this expansion at all. And I'm still now trying to, I'm trying to talk and play at the same time, so I'm running around in circles here. But, the thing with this is it's just absolutely ridiculous how Blizzard has literally not just dragged this out, but then they've stripped out stuff that drags it out even that doesn't even allow you to speed it up. It's like, come on, that's ridiculous. If I had known they were gonna strip those top hats out, I would have used them. Not that that's a big deal, I mean, but I'm just letting you know that that's just fucked up. All right, so anyway, the next issue is that the dungeons. I have come across 3 dungeons in this expansion so far. One dungeon I did, had no problems. I went in, killed shit. Okay, you know, I died once because I couldn't figure out how to, you know, the pattern to go through this cloud area or whatever it is. But then I went into another dungeon where it was like a fucking algebra problem, where it told me to do something about weeding out something, and I can't remember what it was, but everybody was an ally. I couldn't even attack anybody. There was nothing indicating what I was even supposed to be doing. So after wandering around in there for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, well, I was in there for like 3 minutes trying to figure out what am I even supposed to be doing? And it gave me some random instruction that didn't explain anything. I'm like, okay, this doesn't help any. I just left. That dungeon literally made no sense. The next dungeon I went into was something to do with cannons or I don't even know. Something was severely damaged. I don't even remember what the hell it was. But the fact of the matter is, I was at full health, and for some stupid reason, I don't know what happened. I just like instantly died because I guess a cannon got destroyed. I still don't know what the hell killed me, and I still don't know what the point that I'm supposed to be doing in the dungeons are. There's no instructions for any of this shit, and I'm not going to look this up. This is one of the main reasons I don't do dungeons and a lot of stuff in this game is because the mechanics are put in the game, and then there's no explanation of how the mechanics work, and then by the time you figure it out, the mechanics are basically the whole thing that you don't even want to do it because you're so fed up with it. It's like Skyrim. When I was once I had such a severe problem with trying to find the vampire side in Dawnguard that I just stopped. I just didn't care anymore. By the time I did find out, the fun factor was so stripped out of it that I just didn't even give a shit anymore. I had no desire to even go in there, even after I knew what to do. I'm like, nope, I'm done. So I shouldn't have to be going through that as a player. You just shouldn't. It's fucking ridiculous. So I'm in the Bleeding Hollow, right? Alright, so... What is this, anyway? I don't even know what this is. This is like a bonus objective. What is this? So let me see. I didn't even know I had a bonus objective, so I don't get it. Garrison Campaign, and then Garrison Campaign. So I don't get it. Wait, I have 2 quests? Wait, if I only have 2 quests, what the hell is this? A bonus objective? Alright. That's fine, I'll deal with that. But I don't get this. Just don't get it. Now you get into why I never really did a raid. I never really did a raid, and I never did a raid in this game because the mechanics for the raid aren't explained. Now, people are like, oh, you just go in there and kill shit. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the intricacies of, you know, getting it up, set up, and everything else. It's like meeting stones. I will profusely argue with anybody that tries to say meeting stones in this game work. They have never worked through any time since I've been playing this in Burning Crusade. And it said something about level requirements or something like that. And once I did that, I decided to test out. Well, people were saying I can't. No, you're not getting the. You're not the right level. So I decided to target a specific meeting stone by going back to it level 1 to 87. I did it before I left. So if I did it before I left, and I did it with 87 times, you can't tell me that one of those times would not have worked. I would have been at the right level because I went back level 1 to 87. So, and I know that outside of the Eastern Kingdom, that, you know, anything within the Eastern Kingdom is not going to be outside my level range. So I kept going back to the same the same meeting stone trying to get to use it. And yes, I had the group set up properly. I know what needed to be done and everything else. Just the freaking stone kept saying you don't meet the level requirements for this. Every time I used it, no matter how often I went back, no matter what level I was when I did it. I did it between levels 1 and 87. I literally did it 87 times. Every time I went up a level, I went back to the stone to see if it would work. Nope. And that entire time, I just kept getting the same message. You don't meet the level requirements to use this. I did that 87 times. So I've never gotten a meeting stone to work, and there's no explanation how to get them to work, and they're just basically broken. So that's why I'll argue profusely with anybody. And I love, obviously, the people are going to say, well, I just got it to work. I just used it. Yeah, I'm sure you used it. You just so magically happened to use it after I said that there was a problem with it. Right. I have no idea what this shit is. So I have one quest off of another. I don't even know. All right. So anyway, let me get into the next couple of issues with the people complaining about the report and kick system, the report feature in the kick system for players and shit like that. It's funny how people. I've been saying this for a while, and I made a video about this. I've said it for a while, and the system is abused, and it needs to have a consequence attached to the system for having it used. And all anybody did was say, well, you're just mad because you got kicked out of groups and just all the stupid shit that has nothing to do with anything. So, there are people who are now complaining about it. They're literally using the same exact complaints I've already listed. So it's just funny. You can go back and watch that video. It's on my channel. It's called I don't even remember, man. So anyway, that's about all I have to say with this, as far as those particular aspects. But the vote to kick system is it's fucking ridiculous how anybody can just do anything that they want. They can get away with it and all this other shit. And then Blizzard fucking this game up totally for, not just the structure of it, but a few other things. But also talking about the freaking report and kick system. It's already a proven fact that Blizzard doesn't read they don't read the complaints people sending in. The system's automated. Blizzard says it's not automated. No, the system is automated because it automatically squelches you so you can't talk. Now people will say, well, the semantics on that squelching is not this, or that's not. If you can't fucking talk, you've been silenced. Period. It doesn't matter what you call it. You can't talk, and that system is automatic and kicked it in. So that's the shit that people ignore. They're always like, oh, it's semantics, and you can, this is what squelching means. None of that shit's relevant. You can't fucking talk, and that's the point. So, the people abusing the report system know this happens, so they abuse it. And so, instead of Blizzard looking at the actual reasoning, they just roll over and accept the mass amount of reports. And then, that's a fucking shitty system. Because what happens here is, there doesn't even need to be a report system in the game. You have a way to ignore a player, and that's it. If you're not going to ignore a player, then you have no business bitching about what you see in chat, because you have to manually go into your account and uncheck that stuff, which means you purposely set it up that way. So now after you did that, you're complaining that you don't like what you see? No, you're a little troublemaking douchebag. That's all. And so Blizzard doesn't look at the fact that you're a troublemaking douchebag, and instead just like, oh look, we got 35 reports about John. The system's gonna automatically silence him. It works the same friggin' way as the false flags in the content ID system inside YouTube here. Hold on a second, I'm eating garlic bread. I think I put too much garlic on it. Yeah, so anyway, the system is fucked up because Blizzard allows the system to be fucked up. And that's a serious problem because Blizzard knows the system is fucked up and it's abused. So, as I said in one of my other videos, I have come to the conclusion that Blizzard knows this stuff is happening. They put it in the game for it specifically to start, so people can start problems with each other. That there's no other explanation for why you would have such a system in place that is that shitty of rules and a very sloppy way to friggin' become abused, and then ignore all of the reports of abuse by, you know, and then but have something in the guidelines saying, you know, well, we encourage, we want fair play. What? That doesn't even make any sense, and Blizzard's just lying out their ass. I have literally come to the conclusion. I look at it like this. I've said this, and I always think it's funny because the term arsonist is basically setting a fire and then basically watching it burn, for lack of, you know. But that's what Blizzard does. They put these systems in the game knowing it's going to start a fire, or, you know, because people are going to use it to abuse the system, just so people will complain in the forum because they like to sit back and watch how much of a fucking idiot people are. But then again, if Blizzard's going to be pulling that shit, that's on them. But, you know, it's like I always said I was going to explain why I got banned from the forum. Or I should say suspended. I got suspended from the forum. I should pull this email up. It's friggin' hilarious. I got suspended from the forum because I basically this is another problem with the mechanics of the game. That the typical replies that were in the topic shows you why it literally shows why my channel, why I make the videos the way I do, because people are always purposely going out of their way because they can't handle criticism on stuff, and they will literally start talking about things that have no relation whatsoever to anything I'm talking about, and then they will try to use that to cause a problem to deflect the actual issue itself. And so what wound up happening was I had basically I left a message on the forum telling Blizzard to get their head out of their ass because I'm sick and tired of having to use my Hearthstone to get out of dead-end areas because Blizzard can't put a normal exit procedure on things. So one of them is on the Dark Moon Fair. As soon as you get on the mounts, it's bugged. There's no way for you to dismount. You can't use your bar because the bar changes into something different. So you either have to find there's an area by the graveyard in the Dark Moon Fair that's considered it's considered an interior area. So walking on there will cause you to dismount, or you have to leave the area. Because the dismount button on the side doesn't work. So that's a fuck up on that. Then I went into a I forget where it was, but it was something to do with one of my garrisons. Something in my garrison. It took me to a fighting area where, first of all, it said low-level quest, and then every enemy in the entire area in that quest was my level. That's not a fucking low-level quest. I don't even know what the hell that came from. So anyway, what wound up happening with that is it's something to do with one of the panda bears from Pandaria. Is confronting somebody, so they have you do these bunch of you have a choice of being a healer or whatever. So I chose damage, but the fact is that after you're done and you complete the session, you go up and talk to the guy that said for starting it, he doesn't have anything in his dialogue about leaving the area. So I tried the gate. Nope. There's not even there's no way to get out of here without your Hearthstone. With the Hearthstone. Why? Really? So I basically said, Blizzard, you need to get your head out of your ass because I'm sick and tired of having to use my friggin' Hearthstone to get out of areas because you can't put a proper exit procedure on something. Now, the idiots, and I call them idiots, the idiots that started replying totally ignored that you don't fucking program something you don't program an area and have it be a dead end, but hide the exit procedure in such an obscure place, nobody's gonna know. Nobody's even gonna know it's there. Never mind if you tell them. So the point here is that's fucking ridiculous that Blizzard can't put a proper exit procedure in. So I basically wrote this nasty fucking note to them because I get sick and tired of having to freaking use my Hearthstone to get out because they're too fucking lazy to put a proper exit procedure on. If I'm starting a fucking quest with the guy, then the guy should say you want to leave the area. The option should be in there, or even still, put an exit point on the door. You know, like I can this. I mean, I can interact with these, and so if I go over to the door and do that, it should let me out. But no, and even the NPC that friggin' starts shit says like. He doesn't even say, do you want to leave? There's no option for it. So you're fucking stuck in that area, and I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. I shouldn't have to friggin' use my Hearthstone to get out of here. Because Blizzard can't put a friggin' proper exit procedure on something, and then on top of that, since they did hide it, they didn't even let the player know. And then I had literally everybody arguing with me on that, and acting like I'm the one that has the problem because you can't figure it out. Shouldn't have to figure it out. The fucking exit points are not there. It's piss poor programming. You know, so it's stupid on how Blizzard did this shit. And then, is that good? I don't understand. That's just fucked up. So I'm gonna touch up on another subject where people say, well, you know, if you don't like it that much, if you don't like it, why are you playing it? What the fuck does that mean? What? I'm just pointing flaws out with the game. What do you mean if I don't like? How do you turn into me pointing out all this shit about the game that's wrong with it into, oh, you don't like the game? I never fucking said that. That's the mentality of, and then people will start justifying all sorts of shit on that end, and that's what I basically explained. So I don't know. All right. So anyway, I'm getting extremely tired, and everybody that knows me knows I promote safe streaming. I should be back on again tomorrow, but oops, I freaking fell down. Was that food on the edge here? What the fuck is that? All right. So anyway, I'm gonna oh, he's down here anyway. Interesting. What is this up here? Huh. Interesting. All right, so after I turn this in, I'm going to I'll have this, and then I'll grab that, and then I'm going to exit the game. So I will talk to you guys later. I will probably be streaming tomorrow at some time during the day. I'm not sure, but that's about it. All right. Take care, guys. TL Gamer signing off. Have a good day tonight wherever you are.